Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Pro Division and with tournament win for the Origin 9-hole cup. Video sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. And before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, visit golfclashtommy.com for more content for the Origin 9-hole cup, but also content in general for Golf Clash the game. Last but not least, if you do want to get a massive advantage in this 9-hole cup and also other tournaments and the tour play that you're playing, the tour that you're playing in, go to patreon.com/golfclashtommy and get your package there today. Link in the description down below. This is going to be a difficult tournament. Difficult meaning that many of the holes are not really opportunities in my opinion. Sure, we can get close, but with the less amount of time that we have, I have some of the holes where I'm focusing just giving ourselves a very, consistent and safe way getting the eagle on the par 5s, especially because par 5s takes a lot of time to dial in normally. The one that you should focus on though is hole 2. Hole 2 is an absolute must drop, where hole number 1 is a very close second. So hole 1 and hole 2 is going to be provided with drops in this playthrough, so you can hopefully then replicate and do well. Enough talking about this from me. Use the info box on the right hand side. Elevation adjustment, ball and club suggestions will be seen there for every hole. Let's go to hole number 1. So for hole number 1, we are playing with our sniper, and the sniper is going to start with top of the red ring by the rough, with the ball guideline going, straight through the pin. Once we've done that, we're adding 3.5 bar backspin. Make sure that you're not adding too much. If you're too heavy on the backspin, you're gonna go short. Once we're done with that, we, just going to adjust our rings maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment. Even though we're not in maximum distance, we are going to use maximum distance as a club range, and we're going to take our shot. Using only 3.5 bar backspin makes it possible to use a low level sniper, so don't steer yourself blind with that it is a sniper level 10. And this shot is either gonna be super close or it's gonna be in the hole if you hit perfect. For hole number 2, we are playing with the extra mile and we're playing with a katana ball. Power 2 ball is absolutely perfect here, and it also, takes away the need for us to play with a power 3 ball. 4.5 bar topspin and as much side spin to the right possible. And the thing that we're looking at now is the second bounce. The second bounce should be approximately 2 rings, or like 1.5 to 2 rings from the rough to the right. Now I'm having, as you can see, half of the white ring inside the rough to the right, but that is with an extra mile level 7. And as the extra mile clubs do have a different accuracy on many levels, you cannot steer yourself blind on the ring. So therefore, our focus is on the ball guideline. Once you have adjusted your shot for maximum distance, 10% over adjustment, you're pushing your club up to max. And this will give ourselves a yardage distance that is 345 yards. Second shot is going to be with a short iron. Look for where the club is in minimum distance. And as you can see, we are 3 rings from the bunker when we are, 3 rings space from our short iron to the bunker when we have it in minimum distance. That equals medium distance, no elevation, and we're adding 0.2 rings with the thorn. To make it even more simplified for you, you can use the slider, which is 60% slider, or you are choosing to change the elevation and play medium distance plus 10. Because medium distance plus 10 is the same adjustment as using medium distance, no elevation, and 60% slider. Ball guideline, slightly short of hole, as we do not have a ball guideline that is 4.2 or better. So if you're not gonna want to come in too hot and hit the pin and bounce out, then we need to make the ball guideline slightly shorter than pin with a thorn or a hornet level 7 or below. Okay, so listen, here, on hole number 3, we have 2 options. And if you do play with a club like an Extra Mile level 9, or a Thor's Hammer level 5+, or an Apocalypse level 4+, then we go for green. Meaning, we're using the ball that gives us the most wind combined with power. So a wind 0 or 1, power 5, and then we go max overpower and using 1 ball of curl. Here in this example, I'm gonna take this drive again. When you do not have a driver like that, now I'm thinking Extra Mile 8 and below, I'm thinking Thor's Hammer 4 and below, I'm thinking Apocalypse level 3 and below, and especially when it comes to the Extra Mile, we're going to lay up here on the other side of the fairway, or like other side of the bunker. We're not going to try to bounce over, we're going to use the wind in our favor. And with that means that we're going to still use a power 5 ball, which is going to be a berserker, and so we'd still have some decent wind. We're using max backspin and 4.5 bar side spin to the left. And we are putting our club up on the rock, which will automatically give us more distance than what we otherwise would be getting with a shot like this. Now you can see that I'm using approximately 3 rings of overpower. I only want you to go with 2 rings of overpower because look how close we are with the rough here. And the reason I want us to either play this or we want to go for green is because, you know, that's going to be the best possible ways to actually get an albatross. And the drive is otherwise going to be too tough if we're going to go with a max curl shot with let's say we would need a very good level Apocalypse to do well for the drive. Second shot, if we do lay up, is with a long iron. I'm using half a bar of backspin, making sure that I'm looking at it at least as I'm going directly at pin. But we need to have in mind that the wind is going to push us a lot to the right, so we need to deliberately aim a little bit to the left of pin. And obviously, when we do not have a fully developed ball guideline, it's going to be difficult to get this ball in the hole. So once again, if you do play with a driver, Extra Mile level 9, Thor's Hammer level 5+, Apocalypse level 4+, you go for green if you do have the ball. That's, you know, that is no debate. You should do so. Unfortunately, I don't have a video to show you, but listen to my explanation and do what I told you to do, and then you're gonna do fine. If not, we're gonna lay up, we're gonna still use a power 5 ball and go with a long iron from distance. For hole number 4, we are going to just lay up to be as close to the rough there at top possible. And we're using the quarterback here to make sure that we do have a good ball guideline and a good accuracy that will, you know, make sure that we're not rolling too far. Look at the ball guideline and leave it around 1 ring to 2 rings from the rough at the top. I would say 2 rings to give ourselves a little bit more room. But at the same time, we do need to be very close to be able to use the sniper as a club for the rough bump. Power 3 ball, an absolute must. No spin, and we adjust maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment, and then it's just time to take our shot. Those of you that do want to play aggressively here, you can bounce over the rough sand and water and give yourself a shot with a maxed out Saturn or a Tsunami or a Grim Reaper. But I do believe, based on the general clubs that we do have playing in Pro, that this is going to be the better option for us in general. Now you see I'm playing with a sniper level 9, but as we're not using much topspin or backspin or side spin for that matter, it doesn't really matter what sniper you're having. The only thing that is valuable is obviously a good ball guideline. 2 bars of topspin and 1 bar side spin to the right, and we adjust maximum distance numbers without any elevation. And the thing that could happen here, depending on what you do with your drive, if you go too short with your drive, you might have to overpower your shot. And not much, but a little bit. And obviously when you hit great right, you're going to miss nonetheless. But bouncing into the rough, roll up, and you see that I'm having a little bit too much topspin, and I would like you to go back and play 1.8 bars topspin and still choosing the 1 bar right spin. One little thing that you should do if you can and want, and that is to play with a power 4 ball. Using a power 4 ball will give you more distance, which will not make the drive that extremely important to get close to the rough. Then you have a couple of more yards to play with. So if you have some to spare, it's not wrong to play a power 4 ball on hole 4. For hole number 5, we're going to play a very tough, very tough par 3. Do not expect an hole-in-one on this one. We do expect at least to be close when we're taking this shot. First, I'm adding a 3.5 bar side spin to the left to get the ball guideline pointed towards the hole. Once I've done that, we are going to add a little bit more backspin, and I'm gonna get into why we should do that in just a bit, but I don't do it here. And now I'm adjusting for maximum distance with a 30% over adjustment with as a straight straight wind angle possible. I'm using a kingmaker to reduce the wind to make it easier. Obviously you can play with a different ball if you want to. So 30% max distance numbers, we're coming in with a nice speed, but the thing that I would like you to do is once you have adjusted 3.5 bar backspin and pointing the ball guideline to hole, you change the 3.5 backspin to 4 bars of, not backspin, side spin to the left. You change to 4 bars of side spin to the left instead, and then you're gonna be very close to an hole-in-one. First and foremost, I want to apologize for using an extra mile level 9 and the better clubs on this hole. This due to running out of accounts to use. But we're going to play the same way as I'm doing here in this video, and the thing we're gonna do, we restart. So, extra mile, no matter what level you're having it in, you're not gonna play with any spin. You let the ball guideline show that we are pointing it towards the left side of that bunker. Once you have done that, you're going to adjust for maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment. Once you have done that, you push up to max, and then it's time to go for overpower. Now you're noticing that we do have once again an extra mile level 9, which has a little bit more distance than other extra miles, and we're using 2 rings of overpower. The thing that I do like you to do is to go with 3 rings of overpower when you're playing with a club like an extra mile level 5, 6, 7 and also level 8. The thing that you're going to notice with that drive is that you are getting into a very nice distance by playing the play that I'm doing there. You might thinking it would be smarter to use more topspin to stay away from overpower, but that's wrong. Trust me, that's gonna bite you in the butt, because using more topspin, you're gonna come in with more speed, and you still have the same distance to roll on that other fairway, which means that you will most likely roll into the rough at the left side or at the top. Therefore, we'll play without any spin for the drive. 2 bars of a backspin for the second shot, and you see that I'm stretching out, so I see the second bounce to be just where the fringe ends. And then I do take a note on how many rings that I should in that regard push up, which in this case was 2 rings. We adjust maximum distance, no elevation, and then it's time to push up our club the 2 rings that we were too short of from the start. No curl whatsoever, and you can see that I'm clearly not playing this shot for the pin. And you know, I'm not gonna do that either, because getting an eagle here is close to getting a drop, because it's a very difficult par 5, and we're gonna see way more birdies and pars than we will be seeing albatrosses on this tough par 5. So playing it purely as an eagle hole, and as you notice, I had the big dog level 9, but you can play with whatever big dog you might have, because it still has the same power, which is the important part there. So the big dog has 180 power, or at least 170, 76, 78, 79, 80, which makes this shot very repeatable with whatever level big dog you're having. I was so surprised looking at this win when I played this one in Pro. And the reason I was so surprised is because this win basically takes away the right hand side completely if you're not trying to play with, you know, an apocalypse with a decent amount of curl, or that you're going to attempt a power slice. I'm not gonna attempt a power slice here. I'm gonna lay up and I'm going to give myself an opportunity every single time, even though it's not going to be super simple. 4.5 bar topspin. We start from maximum distance of our club, just making sure that the ball guideline is pointing straight down the middle, adjusting maximum distance with a 20% over adjustment, and then we're going to go with a little bit of curl, not much, just touching the bottom arrows as you can see there on the game screen. Perfect ball, and we're going to give ourselves a nice distance here, and obviously we're looking for a yardage note, especially when we are playing a perfect ball. 340 yard mark. Now, second shot we play with the Goliath, and here the side spin with the Kingmaker is helpful. We don't have to use max as you can see, but we're going to at least use a semi amount of bars, which is going to be 5 bars as you see here. Now I'm also going to use top spin, so the ball guideline going through the hole. Very, very important that the ball guideline go through the hole, and as this is a Goliath level 7, so the Goliath in levels 7 and 6, and also in a lower level, will still go through the hole even with a crappy ball guideline, which means Goliath level 8 and 9 will have to go through the ball guideline even, be through the hole even more. Maximum distance with a 40% over adjustment is what we're gonna play, and again, we're playing for the rough bump. The ball is bouncing into the rough and it rolls very nicely, and we take ourselves a nice eagle on a very tough par 4. You know, this one would have been not an easy one, but very makeable one with a flat out crosswind or some sort of tailwind. But with headwind and the crosswind coming right to left, we are kind of forced to do a very, very, very good drive, or we'll play straightforward, a little simplified, but a little bit tougher second shot, but still with a good chance for an eagle. For hole number 8, we're going to play this hole very, very simple. As we do have tailwind, we're going to use a power 3 ball and with as much wind resistance possible. Kingmaker or a Titan is going to be the one that I'm going to go to, and I'm using max backspin. We're going to use all but half a bar of a backspin with our Guardian and 2 bars of side spin to the right, leaving ourselves up into maximum distance of our club. Sure, I do have a Guardian level 9, but this is going to be applied on other Guardian clubs as well. That's why a power 3 ball is so important, as you know, with a lower level Guardian we don't have as much distance, and therefore it's going to be, once again, super important. I want you to go with half a ball of curl. This is a little bit too much, but you can see the trick. We're bouncing with backspin, and we want the ball coming in on the left side of the pin to roll down towards the pin, making, an hole-in-one. Do I believe this is going to drop for a hole-in-one many times? No. But I do believe that if we're going to bounce on the pad before the water, then the bunker is going to make more trouble. Then it's going to bring us hole-in-ones from that area instead. So therefore, I give you a very simple approach, which is going to be a 100% birdie no matter what you're doing, but you're going to have a tiny bit chance of an hole-in-one. But please, do not expect anything here. Take the birdie and freaking run. 40% over adjustment, maximum distance. For hole number 9, we're going to play on the right side, and here I would strongly advise you to play with a side spin 3 ball. A Kingmaker here would be the best ball, as power 3 is the only thing we need, but then the side spin 3 will obviously be very, very beneficial to play with. And that is because then we can reduce the amount of curl that we're going to use. But if you do play with a side spin 2 ball, it would be recommended that you do at least play with clubs that can give you 1 ball of curl, which is going to be approximately 55 to 60 in stat of curl. If you do have an Apocalypse in whatever level you have it in, it could be level 1, then that doesn't really matter. You have the curl no matter what. But I'm thinking for those of you playing with the Thor's Hammer and also playing with Extra Mile. You see that I'm using a Titan ball, and I'm using a very limited amount of curl only to try this shot out and see, can we manage with so little curl to play with an Extra Mile then and a Thor's Hammer. And you see we're right on the edge, and that's why if we're gonna play with an Extra Mile or a Thor's Hammer using the curl that we're having there, a side spin 3 ball is a must, and therefore we go to the Kingmaker. 10% over adjustment for the drive. Second shot, we play with the sniper, as we will not have that much distance towards the pin though. And you know, now playing on the right hand side will be needed some side spin here. And the important part here with our adjustment as well is that we will be dropping down into the sand, which makes us having to then push up our club in the end to not short. This is one of the two ways to play hold 9, and this is the way that I normally play when I play in tour play, but it could also be interesting to look at going into the center with your drive and therefore maybe have a little bit better wind angle from there. I'm gonna leave that unsaid though, as again, it's the beginning of the tournament and we're always going to look for different type of routes to play, but that you know, playing on the right, you're gonna have no problem getting the eagle, and you're most definitely gonna have a shot at the albatross from there. No elevation for the second shot. Thank you so much for watching this playthrough for Pro Division with the tournament win for the Origin 9-hole cup. The video here is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, and make sure that you take your chance and subscribe to patreon.com/golfclashtommy for the best guides on the market. We will provide ultimate tournament guides for all the divisions during the mini tournament. In the end, join our Discord. Link to Discord is also in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching and good luck in the 9-hole cup.